22 years old. Life is good. I had a great job, a fiance, a social life. Then I lost the job. The fiance broke up with me. There went my social life. I had no purpose, no passion. My life became a mess. I turned to my Uncle Sam and joined the U.S. Army. I became a combat-ready cook when I couldn't even fry an egg. I went to Karlsruhe, West Germany for my first duty station. My first product to make was coffee for breakfast. I burned the coffee. All 300 of my fellow soldiers had to go out to the field that day without their be-all-you-can-be rocket fuel. My supervisor, 6'3", Sergeant First Class Boston, came to me. "Private Jenks, you need to learn how to make coffee." "Yes, Sergeant." Imagine the smell of breakfast. Sausage baking in the oven, biscuits homemade, cream beef. None of it was mine. I was assigned to make bacon, and I burned it. All 600 strips. As I scraped the pan to put the bacon for the hogs, Sergeant First Class Boston came. "Private Jenks, what are you doing here?" "Sergeant Boston, I'm here because I want to serve my country by serving my fellow soldiers." "You're not serving them by burning their breakfast. You need to pay attention to detail." "Yes, Sergeant, I will." The next breakfast, he put me on the big eggs to order grill where you could fit 9 servings at a time. I had my trusty spatula to help me. I was doing a really good job, I thought, keeping up with all those egg orders. One soldier didn't like the way I was flipping his omelet. "What are you doing to my omelet? You're gonna break it!" "Ooh, thou shalt not bite the hand that feeds thee!" "Private Jenks, let's go take a walk." "Yes, Sergeant B." "Private Jenks, you will not strike your fellow soldier." "I know, Sergeant B, but I will not be disrespected." "I understand that, Private, and I'm going to have a word with that soldier, but you need to get your act together." "I know, Sergeant B, and I will. I promise." He was right. I had one job to do, to feed my fellow soldiers, and I was failing miserably. I was upset that entire day. As I went to sleep that night, I made the decision that I was going to change. I was going to put all my focus and my energy into paying attention to detail. Not long after that, I was offered the rare opportunity to study in the Army's Culinary Arts program after work. I spent months working on this beautiful, bright cake as an entry for the upcoming Culinary Arts competition. As I finished the last bit of piping on that cake, my instructor came up to me to inspect the cake. "Why, Private Jenks, that cake is stunning." Paying attention to detail Not only did I win first place at that competition, I took best in show. It earned me the opportunity to compete on the Army level where I placed and became a master cake decorator. The Army awarded me the Army Commendation Medal for baking a cake and serving my fellow soldiers. I had found my purpose by putting passion into being a combat-ready cook. My hope for each and every one of you is that you find your purpose and put passion into it.
Hail, Lori, hail.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and especially Veronica. You are a natural speaker. Your pitch is where we can all hear you well. Your voice is clear. You added humor, which is always great. Your pacing was done very well. There was not a time where I thought you were speaking too fast. It was all paced out. You tell a very compelling story. You're confident in speaking. It comes naturally to you. What you may consider working on is when you're in that dialogue about your son and talking back and forth with him, you may consider talking in a different voice, like your son. As a mom, show us your emotion with, this is your baby boy here who's been injured. If it was me, there would have been some little frantic going on there. And yes, you're telling a story, but show us that emotion with being concerned about your son. To challenge yourself. At the beginning of your speech, it looked like you were looking at notes. So I want you to know your content well enough that you don't have to use those. A great storyteller doesn't use notes. In fact, most of the time they're on a stage and they're standing up. So I'm going to challenge you to stand up. Standing up always gives a more professional presence. That's what our coaches that are world champions have taught us. And then the other thing was your background. It was very dark. And for me, it was hard to just focus in on your lovely face and your speaking. So those are all just things to consider. Then, I can't see, okay, saw's the timer. I was gonna say I can't see the green yet. Alrighty, so in summary, you're a natural storyteller. Work on showing the emotion. Challenge yourself to know your content well, to not use notes. And that concludes my evaluation, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you.